Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is April 9th, 2014. This is the Texan TV news from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I am Maegan Bailey. In today's headlines, new Texans basketball camp offered, Cowboy Capital Roller Girls compete in Brownwood, funds started to help Fort Hood families, studies in London allow paralyzed men to use their legs again, bomb explodes in railway car, and strike continues at the Rio 2016 Olympic venues. Now to our top story. In campus news, the Texans have added a new team camp to their schedule that will take place June 26th through the 28th. Tarleton Athletics reports the teams will play about 9 games in the 3-day span and trophies will be awarded at the end. The camp will be open to high school and junior high girls basketball teams and will cost $1,000 per team. Dorm rooms will be available during the camp, however meals will not be provided. The Tarleton Dining Hall will remain open to teams as well as to purchase meals. And now we go to a video about the camp.
We've been talking about it for a long time, and we actually tried it a few years, I guess about 5 years ago, and it went pretty well. There was about 6 or 7 teams involved, but we've had some interest in the last few years as far as teams, coaches asking for their teams to come, and so we kind of started talking about it, and we decided, you know what, we'll replace one of our overnight camps and do a team camp to give all these little small towns around here the opportunity to come to a team camp that's affordable and close. We've had a great deal of interest. They haven't signed up yet. We just put the brochure online. Actually, I think yesterday was the first day it was available, but we've had a whole lot of interest in coaches calling and from really all over. We were trying to do it for these little small towns around here, but we've had a lot of interest from teams that are 3 or 4 hours away. They will bring a coach. A lot of times, if they're close enough, their high school coach will come watch. They can't coach them, but they can come watch, and they have an idea on how they want their team coached. So if the team doesn't bring a volunteer coach, then one of our players will step in and kind of try to coach them through the games, however the coach wants them to. But most of the time, they bring a volunteer coach that stays with them in the dorms and stays with them throughout the week. We will do little sessions, pretty short sessions, because it depends on how many teams we have, how many games we'll have. But we'll do little short skill sessions and instructions, maybe motivational speeches, things like that throughout the camp during the day. Well, like I said, usually the coaches and the teams that are coming, their coach has an idea as far as what kind of offense they want to run. You know, they might want to run their offense that they're planning on running through the season and things like that. So whatever coach they bring will probably coach them through that, because they'll know that better than we do. And we'll give them pointers if they ask, but most of them have an idea on how they want it to be run, how their team wants to be coached. Well, just playing basketball improves so much. Even our players get out and they play pickup games just to play with each other, just to get to know each other better. Get to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and that's what they get to find out about themselves and about each other, playing with the team that they're going to go into the next year playing with at their high school.
Other camps offered by the Texans include a day camp open to kindergartners through 6th grade and a fundamentals camp for 4th through 12th graders. You can find the registration forms, full schedules, and more information on the Tarleton Athletics website. In local news, this year Cowboy Capital Roller Girls has joined the ranks of well-seasoned Women's Flat Track Derby Association leagues, which means facing tougher, more experienced teams, according to the Associated Press. Head coach of the Roller Girls, Ashley Gill of Stephenville, who goes by Gillatone Grace, is excited. She says the team has several new faces this season, women that have stepped up, trained hard, and earned a spot on their rosters. These women have a lot to offer the league. Little Tank Lulu, Edith Luna of Stephenville, leads the pack as captain. She says fans are going to see a different game as the team approaches the 2014 season. There will be more heart, grit, and physical game as the team competes. CCR co-captain Bam, aka Brianna Ballard of Brownwood, is ready to play in front of her hometown crowd again. She says it's a big adrenaline rush to play in her hometown and hear the fans. New skaters will also be making their debut in Brownwood. The doors to the Coliseum open at 2 p.m. and the whistle blows at 3 to kick things off. The team is encouraging fans to make signs to support their favorite skater. Tickets are $10 in advance, $12 at the door, and trackside and VIP tickets are available for $14. Children under the age of 10 are free. And now for today's state, national, international, and sports news from the Associated Press. In state news, dozens of families who lost loved ones during September 11th, the shooting at Connecticut's Sandy Hook Elementary School, and other attacks are trying to support the victims of similar tragedies with a new fund, and its first efforts will focus on last week's shooting at Fort Hood. A spokesperson for the National Center for Victims of Crime told the Associated Press on Tuesday that about 70 families are supporting the fund to provide no-strings-attached cash payments. Victims' family members said they joined the effort out of frustration with how donations were allocated after their own tragedies. Rather than underwriting counseling services or financing a memorial, the fund will disperse cash to survivors and the families of the dead so that they can heal any way they need to heal, said Anita Bush, who lost a cousin in the Colorado movie theater shooting. The fund went live in February, and it will be first tapped to help the victims and families at the shootings in Fort Hood. Administration costs were largely covered by the families involved and corporate sponsors, but only about $1,000 has been raised since the fund turned its sights Monday to Fort Hood, according to the National Center for Victims of Crime spokeswoman Kath Cummings. Kenneth Feinberg, the White House-appointed administrator of September 11th Victim Compensation Fund, will oversee an expert panel that includes people with experience in mass crime victim compensation and family members of victims, Cummings said. In national news, studies that originated in London 3 years ago are allowing 3 paralyzed American men to use their legs again. The AP was there to cover it.
Off-roading, skeet shooting, sit-ups, all things Kent Stevenson found too difficult after a dirt bike accident 5 years ago left him paralyzed from the chest down.
The doctors just told me, this is what you got, and you're going to have to live in a wheelchair the rest of your life.
A severe spinal cord injury turned his legs into limp, dead weight, but now, with the push of a button, he can move them once again.
Left leg up.
Kent is part of a small study at the University of Louisville that's showing promise for treating paralysis. He had an electrical stimulator implanted in his back 2 years ago that zaps his spinal cord when activated.
The goal was to modulate those damaged nerves in the spinal cord so that they once again would become receptive to stimuli.
Electrical stimulation worked in one paralyzed patient earlier in the study, but now 3 more, including Kent, have found it life-changing. When the device is on, through physical training, they've regained some movement of their legs, hips, and toes, can stand for short periods, and have more stamina. Patients saw other improvements, too.
Lets me be able to go out and ride all day with my friends and get out of the wheelchair. And there's been huge improvements in my bowel, bladder, and sexual function. It's way better, and it's good. That's the simplest way to put that.
The study was funded in part by the NIH and Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. None of the patients has walked. They still use wheelchairs. Doctors caution electrical stimulation isn't a cure, but they're hopeful that with more study,
Spinal cord injury may no longer mean a lifelong sentence of complete paralysis.
For now, there are no plans to remove the device. Ken can have it turned on for up to 3 hours a day, allowing for more off-roading. Cindy Sharp, Associated Press.
In international news, at least 13 people died and 35 were wounded after a bomb ripped through a railway car parked at the station in Sabai, southwest Pakistan yesterday. And now we go to the AP for a video. The train was going from Quetta, the capital of Baluchistan, to Rawalpindi, which is near the capital Islamabad. The bomb went off while passengers were boarding and disembarking from the carriages in Sabai, a city 150 kilometers, 90 miles east of Quetta. The separatist United Baluch Liberation Army later claimed responsibility for the bombing and warned of more such attacks in the future. The separatist organization said the attack was in relation for a military operation on Monday against their activists in the province. The Baluchistan region has been plagued by violence from various factions for years, and Pakistani troops have been battling both Baluch separatists as well as sectarian groups in the area. In sports news, more than 2,000 workers stayed away from venue construction sites for the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympics yesterday as a strike that began last week continued without an end in sight. A spokesperson for Rio Maias, the consortium building venues at the Olympic Park, confirmed the work stoppage. It began last Thursday in a dispute over which union represents the construction workers. It also involves benefits and working conditions. Alberto Oliveira, a leader of the Light Industry Workers Union, spoke outside the gates of the Olympic Park as workers milled around. He said the strike involved 3,500 people, although Rio Maias has put that number at 2,300. Oliveira says people have been working under precarious conditions. The Rio Olympics have been plagued by a late start and delays, and the Games topped the agenda of a meeting this week in southern Turkish resort of Belek. Yesterday, the head of Olympic Summer Sports Federations called for urgent action to tackle delays. Many of the delays are rooted in disputes among Brazil's 3 levels of government over who pays for what. Most estimates suggest that Brazil will spend about $15 million on the Olympics, a mix of public and private money. Today you can expect a high of 81 and a low of 55, according to Yahoo Weather. Today's broadcast is produced by Cassidy Horn and Alyssa Urbanic. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I am Maegan Bailey. Tune in tomorrow for the latest news from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.